And here we are. It's just about 11 o'clock, so we are checking in with sound and video to see if you can see and hear. I'm talking so you can hear. Today is our 1 year anniversary doing YouTube and Zoom yoga. That's pretty exciting. For something I'd be like, oh, it's been a year already where we haven't practiced indoors. I'm pretty excited for a couple of reasons. One is there's a huge library now of classes that you can take at any point in time, and they are all just about 50 minutes, some a little less and some a little more. I'm also excited because I get to practice with you, even though I don't get to see you on YouTube, but my Zoom classes I can. And also thinking about how far afield I've been able to work with folks. People in Colorado, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, Pennsylvania, Florida. I'm sure I'm probably missing a state, but it's very exciting, and thank you all for actually bringing yourselves to the practice and for sharing that with me. Thank you for the notification that we've got sound and vision, and we are going to go and get started. If you like a block or blanket or some sort of prop might be helpful for you. And we're going to go ahead and move into our 1 year celebration, celebrating the power of yoga, the power of breath and mindfulness and breath and mindful movement. Today we're going to start, I'm actually going to go ahead and sit on a block today. We're going to start with drishti, which is a single point of focus. It's often referred to as yogic gaze. And in our practice, often we are taught to work with drishti, especially in balances and in combination with the breath imbalances, but also in the asana. In fact, Ashtanga yoga teaches quite a bit of drishti work to aid in alignment. So in Warrior 2, when our arms are wide, I'm thinking that this side is where my front leg is and it is bent, we are taught to gaze toward the tip of the middle finger of the front hand. And that allows us to begin to align where we gaze, where we focus is where we go, where we lean into. Just like what we practice is what we master. So this allows you to align sort of centrally from that fingertip all the way up the center of the front arm, center of the shoulder, up and through and to the opposite side, and aligning the shoulders over the hips. In your upward dog, your gaze is intended to be toward the tip of your nose. So even if you're really fully arching and stretching and lifting up the head a little bit, you're gazing at the tip of the nose so that the heart is moving in that direction. We're going to start today with a little bit of work on drishti associated with the inner gaze. So drishti can be your physical gaze, single point of focus. It can also be your inner gaze. And in meditation, that often means with the eyes closed or maybe even at half mast, they're sort of rolled up and looking, if you will, inside your center forehead, what you might call the third eye. And that drishti is one that is aimed toward vision, toward intuition, and toward wisdom. You can also, if you're feeling a little bit sort of over caffeinated or anxious and you're working your meditation and feeling like you're a bit distracted, another thing you could do is place something of interest, maybe colorful, like a photo of a bright orange flower, or maybe the flower itself, or perhaps it is an image or statue of a being whom you respect or aspire to be like. And then your gaze can sort of settle on and fuzz around the edges a little bit, sort of defocused focus, if you will, to kind of open up that softness, that calm vibing. So today, we'll go ahead and close the eyes, find our 7-point posture, legs crossed, spine long, shoulders away from the ears, pelvis tilted forward, chin tucked. A little opening in the lips, and the tongue is resting behind the top teeth. The eyes roll upward a little bit as if you could look inside the center forehead. This is your drishti for this practice, this part of this practice. As we come into our yoga intermissions, our 50 minutes together, coming to you from Vermont Salt and Sand Studios. My name is Karen. Let the breath settle in. And if your gaze wanders away from the center of your forehead, just draw it back in. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out slowly. Stay here for about a dozen breaths, and no worries, I will count for you, so just keep breathing effortlessly with your inner gaze upward to the center forehead. Allowing that inner gaze to soften. And we'll let the eyes flicker open slightly, so they're sort of 3/4 closed or halfway closed. Now we'll move our drishti about 4 to 6 feet in front of your front leg and onto your floor. Maybe there's some sort of spot there. I happen to have a wooden laminate floor, so I can find a little knot to gaze at. And again, effortless in the breath. Focus a little lightly, but focused on that spot. And this time we'll breathe for about 6 breaths. Your gaze as it is, breathe in as deeply as you can. Pause at the top, see if you can broaden the shoulder blades, the shoulders and the collarbones. Open the mouth, release. 2 more of those. Long breath in. A little tuck of the chin, drop of the shoulders from the ears. Open the mouth, release. And one last time. Huge breath in. We place the palms together at the heart. We imagine that the thumb knuckles and the heart are kind of working toward each other, even as the collarbones get wide. Tuck the pelvis forward. Bring to mind now, as your single point of focus, something to guide your practice. Maybe it's a word, a mantra, an intention. Maybe it's your motivation. Allow your focus to settle. You're mindful of this particular intention, motivation. We'll kick off the more physical part of the practice with the chant of Om. You're welcome to use a silent Om, riding out the breath from the mouth. Breathing in. We start with a little stretch, a little twist, and then we will work a little bit with the hips before we move into our first downward dog. So we're going to start with the fingertips on the earth right by the hips. I'm sitting on a block, so I'm working my arms a little bit longer to touch the floor. Pelvis is shifting forward, loosen the knees and thighs, breathe in, lift from the hips. Last week we spent time making space between the hips and the lowest ribs, rather than just thinking all about the front body. So we're repeating that here today. Lift the right arm nice and high. Continue to get tall on both sides of the body. Breathe in. Exhale for a tilt over to the left. And now we practice drishti. Where we gaze, where we focus, our mind and body goes. So maybe the gaze lifts upward toward the arm, the wrist, or the hand. And that allows the heart to follow that line, that trajectory. On a breath in, both arms sweep overhead. You might notice if you happen to be watching that my left elbow is a little bent. I have some bicep tightness there. We'll press the hands together. Bend the elbows so the fingertips come to the nape of the neck or between the shoulder blades. Press the head back into the forearms. And again, make the sides of the body, all four sides, or all the way around the tube, if you will, that is your torso. Make that long. So you're pressing the sitting bones and the hips down, and lifting the ribs all the way around the body. Inhale, both arms high, and this time right hand places down on the mat. Maybe it's finger tops. We inhale to lift a little bit more, getting a little taller. Exhale, tilt over to the right this time. We're creating a little bit of a C curve or a lot. We're working to open both sides of the body, not just the left. The gaze lifts in support of providing a trajectory, a lead, if you will, for the rest of the energy. We'll inhale, lift the arms overhead, and then come into a cactus shape for our arms. Getting wider in our space, we then drop one hand at a time behind us. Keep your elbows bent. Fingers intertwine, collarbones get wide, squeeze the shoulder blades together, but tuck the tailbone downward. Reach the knuckles toward the earth. And for our twist, left hand comes down to the earth, right arm reaches around toward the left knee, and we find our gaze moving toward the left, working it over and beyond the left shoulder. Keeping the left hand where it is, we reach back around to the front, and the right hand reaches behind us. We find a little back bend here, lifting from the right above the hips, first to the low ribs, then the heart, then the shoulder blades squeeze, they sort of snuggle into each other, and maybe the gaze lifts again, creating a little bit of a trajectory for the energy of the heart. Shoulders stack over the hips. We take our twist over to the right this time. Letting the gaze create that lead, driving the energy and focus in the direction of the right shoulder. Find your way frontward. I'm going to relieve myself of my block. And we will come to the mat facing forward. You might already be there. We'll go ahead and extend the left leg away from the mat. So it's to the left of the mat. We'll bend the right knee so the sole of the right foot comes inside the left thigh. We're opening up the hips here, so we're not working to square the hips to the front of the mat. So you might shift around to ensure that is true. We take a look over the right knee, hands come to the earth. It's a little twist. You might take a hold of the right shin or ankle, or maybe the back of the left hand comes inside the left thigh. We lift the right arm high, get tall like we did in our other seat, and exhale, tilt over toward the left. The right middle finger is reaching for the left toes. But again, the gaze lifts, so the trajectory here isn't just a leaning over to the left, but it's also a lifting upward of the heart energy, the rib cage as the right sitting bone presses to the earth. The right hand plants outside the right hip. We shift onto the front shin. Send the left leg nice and long and float the left arm high. We're pressing the outer edge of the left foot to the earth. The hips are lifting away from the mat. Again, drishti upward toward the thumb or the sky, depending on how far your neck twists, to create this energetic lift. Press the pelvis forward. As you sit back to the earth, we'll find Janu Shirshasana. So square your hips, left leg straight out of the left hip. But we'll take a little modification, placing the sole of the right foot inside the calf. Left toes point toward your torso. We're tall, pelvis forward, belly in. Exhale, maybe a bend in the left knee to find a fold over your left leg. We often start more with standing postures in the vinyasa practice. Today, a little more seated to begin. On a lift back up, the soles of the feet come together. You have a nice big diamond inside the legs for starfish pose. If you can, you'll scoot the wrists underneath the ankles so the palms of the hands come to the top of the feet. If you can't, you can just take a hold of your ankles. You use that leverage to shift the heart forward, tuck the pelvis forward, start to curve the spine and drop the head as if the noggin was an incredible piece of sand nesting inside a shell, becoming a pearl, the oyster's pearl. Rise back up, right leg extends outside the right side of the mat, sole of the left foot inside the right thigh. We open up the hips a little bit if needed and take a peek over the left knee. We're really active, flexing the right foot. Right hand wherever it feels okay for you. Left arm floats high. We're tall first. Well, I'm 5'1", but I'm working to be tall. On an exhale, tilt over toward the right. That left arm might curve a little bit, and then we work the drishti, our single point of focus, upward. Maybe it doesn't quite make it to the palm. And let the heart lift. We're working the twist, an opening along the left side, and the heart energy upward. As we inhale, lift up. Drop the left hand outside the left hip. Shift onto your front shin. Reach that right leg long, sweep the right arm high. Lift the hips. Maybe that right arm is straight upward. That gives an opportunity for the drishti to come to the thumb. And press the pelvis forward. Work into the outer edge of the right foot. Breathe in. Exhale, sitting bones come to the earth. Right leg swings straight in front, taking your time to square your hips. Sole of the left foot inside the right calf. We find our modified Janu Shirshasana on this side. And here, I'm looking beyond the front of the mat. You could also gaze at your toes, but you're working the heart and the spine forward toward your gaze as opposed to just downward. This time as you lift up, we'll find Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose, bringing the heels of the feet a little closer to the sitting bones. Take your thumbs, place them inside the arches of the feet. The fingers are on the tops of the feet. And that allows you to peel the feet open like a book. And you might notice that you get a little bit more depth, the knees closer to the earth when you take that posture. You're welcome to sit upright here, or again, scoop the pelvis forward, the belly in, round your spine, take a fold over as if the head could nest in the feet. We lift back up, cross the ankles, roll over them, find our way into a tabletop. In tabletop, your gaze is straight down at your mat. Knees right under the hips, wrists right under the shoulders. Press the hands into the earth and then imagine at the center of the palm could do a little push-up. Around between the shoulder blades so we can tuck the tailbone just that much. The tops of the feet press into the earth. Now we're going to send the hips back toward the heels, a sort of semi-child's pose, and drop the head. Gaze comes toward your navel. Really reach the arms. Coming forward onto the elbows. We're in a little bit of a short tabletop. We're going to round the spine, press the floor away with the shins, the feet, the toes, the forearms. And then use the belly to draw back to the fingertops in your tabletop. Crawl the fingertops forward. Your hands and your arms will follow. Bring the palms to the earth. Tuck your toes underneath. Shift the sitting bones toward the heels as you press the floor away and lift the knees just a couple of inches. Breathe here. 3, 2, and 1. Draw the heels to the earth for downward facing dog. You might pedal into your downward dog, finding a little opening along the backs of the legs, letting the spine get nice and long. And settle in, bringing the heels toward the earth. Breathe here. Gaze is between the calves or the knees. Rise up to the tiptoes. Stay on your toes as long as you can and walk the hands back toward the feet for a fourfold at the back of your mat. Eventually, you'll know it's time to bring the heels back down. Ragdoll, maybe the gaze is internal, or perhaps it's between your ankles or your shins. Exhale, release the hands to the earth. Next breath out, halfway lift, long spine. Ardha Uttanasana. We stay here looking forward of our feet. Exhale, fourfold. Inhale. Exhale, slowly unravel all the way to standing. You're like a slinky. Mountain pose, hands by your sides. Inhale, sweep the arms wide and high overhead. Exhale, find a forward fold, like a sunset. A halfway lift, use a breath out if you have low back issues, shoulders toward the hips. A breath out, forward fold. Next, inhale, unroll all the way to standing. We'll sweep the arms high. Just like when we're seated, we'll drop the right hand outside the right thigh, getting tall on both sides of the body. Feel the inner arches of the feet lift away from the earth. Breathe in. Exhale, tilt over to the right. You might make a shift in your drishti upward to open up the heart. Open up the left underarm. Inhale, sweep high. Exhale, left hand down. We take another breath in, getting tall. Exhale for tilt over to the left. Shift your gaze, your focus to open the heart. Inhale, both arms sweep high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Samastiti. Your gaze moves down to your fingertops. Notice how different your peripheral vision gets with that change. Now the gaze moves forward of the front of your mat. We take a modified tree, shifting onto the right foot. We bring the toes of the left foot to the earth and the sole of the foot to the inner ankle. Fortify the right glutes. Activate the left glutes to bring the knee behind you a little bit more, or to the left. The knee points forward, and slowly we lift the foot off the earth and step it one step forward. We roll around on the feet, finding equilibrium, maybe moving the feet a little left and right. Both feet point forward, hands come to your hips, exhale halfway down. Nice long spine. Press the heel of the left foot into the earth. Rise up. Draw the right knee in toward your chest, gazing steadily. Nice, slow, steady breath. Activate that right foot. And drop the foot to the earth. We're going to shift onto the left foot again. Bring the right toes to the mat. Lifting the heel and then placing the sole of the right foot inside the left ankle. Hands can remain on your hips or you can draw them to your heart. Work the left glutes. Work the right glutes to open up the right knee, right hip. Point the knee forward, and just like we did on the other side, a gentle step, one step forward, shifting around on the feet, finding our balance, and then a halfway down fold. Long spine. Use the belly, rise up, lift the left knee in toward your chest. Left foot is activated. And the left foot steps forward. The right foot comes to meet it. We're standing at the front of the mat. Inhale, sweep your arms high. Exhale, cactus arms and move into chair as part of this posture. Left arm forward, right arm behind the twist. Shift the weight into your heels. Your gaze is toward your right thumb. It might not make it all the way there, depending on how open your neck is and shoulders are. Rise to the balls of the feet. Keep the heels lifted, sink a little deeper. Reach those right fingertips behind you. Bring your heels down, stay low. Staying in your chair, arms come forward, and they lock into your shoulders. Breathe in. Breathe out, twist to the left. Gaze moves around toward the left thumb. Lift on to the balls of the feet. Sink a little deeper into your chair. Pause. Reach fingers forward, reach fingers backward. Stay low, bring the heels to the earth. Draw forward, arms in front. Sweep them behind you. Draw the knuckles toward the earth. Quads are starting to work here. Exhale for a fold over your legs. Hands might float from your spine. Maybe they don't. This time your gaze draws toward your knees. Exhale, drop the hands to the earth. Next breath out, halfway lift. And a forward fold. Left foot glides to the back of the mat, runner's lunge. Take your time setting this up. Gaze is in front of your right foot. Shoulders toward the hips. We're going to hover over the right leg. Hands reach, reach, reach behind you. Right knee is right over the right ankle, and you're opening up the space in the back foot. Bring the palms facing downward. The gaze is forward on your mat. Now we're going to shift the arms forward right by the ears. Rise up, crescent warrior. I'm going to take east-west again, left arm forward, right arm behind, and then slowly drop the back knee to the earth. Untuck your toes. Bring your right hand to your low back. Bring your left hand to your right hip. Drop your chin. Sink forward into the front hip crease. Twist around to the right. Gaze is downward. Left arm peels forward, and then the hand drops to the earth, deepening the twist here. Heart forward, spine long, and then your twist on the breath out. If you'd like to float the right arm high, allow that to happen. Your gaze is either straight out to the right or upward toward your right hand if it's lifted. Exhale, right hand frames your front foot with the left. We find a half split. Ardha Hanumanasana. Maybe the foot creeps forward a little bit. Toes float away from the earth. Here the gaze is toward the front of your mat. Shoulders toward your hips. Belly energy away from the thigh. Long spine. As you reach the heart toward the shin and find a fold. You don't have to go deep. If you're pretty stretchy and you have found more of the body onto the leg with the long spine, you might drop your gaze down toward your right heel or just to the center, to the left of your right heel. Sole of the right foot plants onto the earth. Hands crawl forward toward the right toes, back toes tucked under. We come back to a runner's lunge, a little longer than what we had before. Breathe in. Exhale, extend your leg, fold over it. Inhale, peel forward, then hop the back foot up for Parsvottanasana, your pyramid pose. I'm going to grab blocks for this. You're always welcome to widen your stance or lengthen your stance, or use blocks or pillows or what have you in support. Pressing energy into the ball of the front foot and the outer edge and heel of the back foot. Back foot steps up to meet the front. We find a half lift on the breath out. Exhale for a forward fold. This time the right foot glides way to the back of the mat for our runner's lunge here. I'm going to take a quick pop down on my knee to put my battery back into the clock I just knocked over. So in your runner's lunge, get nice and long with the heart. And then we hover over the left thigh. Collarbones open, gaze way forward of your mat so that the spine and the neck can get long. Inhale, rise up, crescent warrior. Heart opens. Right glute super activated along with the hamstrings to protect your low back. East-west pose, right arm forward, left arm behind you. Reach the gaze toward the left thumb. Aids in the twist, and slowly we lower the right knee down to the earth. Toes will untuck. Reach, reach, reach. There's a unicorn at the back of the mat. The dinosaur at the front, you're reaching for them. Heel the left hand to your low back, and the right hand cups your left hip. Gaze moves downward, chin can even drop. And we sink a little deeper into the front hip crease. Right arm reaches straight in front of you. We keep our twist as we drop the right hand to the earth. Lengthen the spine, breath in, and twist to the left a little deeper on the breath out. If you like, that left arm can float high. Your drishti, your gaze, is out to the left or up toward your left thumb. If your left knee, like mine, wants to move out to the left, really press into the big toe mound. Connect it solidly, stably to the earth. Exhale, left hand down for your half split, Ardha Hanumanasana. Sole of the left foot meets the earth. Back toes tucked under, runner's lunge. Don't forget to bring the shoulder energy toward the hips and the belly energy away from the thigh. Extend your front leg for a fold over it. Reach the right heel behind and down. Bend in the front knee for a moment as the hands crawl forward to hop the back foot partway up the mat. Straighten both legs. Draw the left hip behind for Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. Back foot steps up to meet the front, a halfway lift, a forward fold, a step back for a high plank. Pausing here to really feel the power of this plank. You might need to pedal things out. I'm working to really stretch so the hips are not over above the head. On an exhale, maybe knees down. Chaturanga, your halfway low push-up. Working into a back bend, that might be a cobra or an up dog. Gaze at the tip of your nose. Exhale for your downward facing dog. Second downward dog of the practice. I need to remove my thumb hooks because the hands are slipping. On a breath in, we'll float the right leg high. Make our way into a warrior two. Stepping the front foot, spinning the back heel to the earth and floating upward. We talked about this drishti for warrior two at the beginning of practice, right over the middle finger. Front palm flips reverse. Many people gaze upward at the palm for the drishti here. If you have a wonky bit of a neck like I do, I'm staring out to the side. You can also bring the gaze downward, which I find also helps to open up the heart. Side angle, right forearm inside the thigh, left arm sweeps around, maybe the bicep is over the ear, or maybe the arm is toward, the fingers are toward the sky. Gaze might lift toward the hand, opening up the heart. Look down at your right toes. Bring your left palm to meet the right and spin onto the ball of the back foot. A little bit of a balance. Drop the shoulders. Bring the hands inside the right foot and heel toe the right foot out to the right. Spin your right toes to the right. We're taking a lizard twist with the back knee lifted. Right hand inside the right knee or thigh. It presses away. The gaze moves toward the right shoulder and up. Right hand drops, high plank. A low plank, maybe knees drop for that. A back bend. And a downward facing dog. For warrior two on the left leg floats, breath in. Left foot steps, breath out. Back foot parallel to the back of the mat, rise up, warrior two. Drishti. Centering. Flip your front palm reverse. Where is your focus? How is that helping? Side angle. Yogic gaze helping you out. Gaze down at the left toes. Right palm meets the left. Spin the right heel away from the earth. Lengthen the arms. Hands come to the mat inside your left foot. Left foot moves to the left, and then the left toes point to the left. Keep the back knee off the earth if possible. And we'll take our lizard twist with the knee raised off the earth. We'll drop the left hand to the earth, come back to our plank. Drop the right knee to the earth and kickstand the foot, left foot a little toward the left side of the mat. Bring the whole inner edge of the right foot to the earth and then press the whole right foot into the mat as you float the right arm up. Modified side plank. If you like, you might lift that right leg. You might even come to the fingertips of the front hand. Using the belly, find your drishti. Well, we don't use the belly to find the drishti, but you know what I mean. We come back into a high plank, meeting there. For a moment, we drop the right knee, kickstand the foot. Bring the whole left foot to the mat, toes pointing to the left. The left arm floats high. Drishti upward toward the thumb. Maybe you float the left leg up. Perhaps you come onto the fingertips of the right hand. Keep those glutes and hamstrings active. Work your way into a tabletop. And find Anahatasana Chaturanga pose. I'm going to remove that block. Hips stay right over the knees, hands walk forward until the forehead, chin, or chest comes to the earth. Now this is an interesting one for your gaze. Since you are prone, it is often more comfortable to close the eyes and have an inner gaze. If your chin or chest is on the earth, you could move your gaze toward the front of your mat. If, like me, you have cranky biceps and shoulders, you want to make sure there's something under your head to let the forehead rest on if the head is not coming to the earth. And in that posture, it feels a little bit more natural to close the eyes and bring the gaze inward and upward. Lengthen the spine, tuck the pelvis forward, and draw the sitting bones back toward the heels. Come to seated on your heels. I'm going to go ahead, take the hands behind us. Either you can bring them right outside your feet, or maybe onto your feet with your fingertips, or maybe behind the toes, depending on how far you can go. Some of you might have a sort of a full heroes, which is not what we're taking, but that might mean you are likelier to get the hands in front of the toes. We're going to go ahead and find a little additional back bend here. Lifting the body, the torso, toward the upper back corner of your space. The gaze can lift up toward the front upper corner of your space where the wall and the ceiling meet. And then you work the shoulder blades toward each other, opening up the collarbones, lift again, and then lift the heart. So the heart is moving sort of toward the straight above you. And then you can start to activate the glutes, the hamstrings, and the quads to maybe lift the sitting bones off the heels. You take all that over again, lengthening the torso, tilting the pelvis forward, shoulder blades fall in love, heart lifts, and maybe the head drops. And here your gaze could lift right up toward the sky like your heart is lighting the sun on fire. Slowly we bring the sitting bones back to the earth, draw the belly in a lot, and stack the shoulders over the hips. We're going to come forward and work our way into a seat, to a twist. Heel of the right foot underneath the left thigh, as close as you can get it to the glutes. And if you like, you can scoot the left ankle outside the right thigh. We're going to take a twist over the left shoulder. And like our twist previously, the gaze moves toward the left shoulder, but past it. Now as you come forward, take your right shin, bring it as parallel to the front of the mat as you can. And then we're going to go ahead and stack the left shin on top. The idea here is like stacked logs. That might not be quite what, it definitely won't be what my shins look like. It might not be what yours look like. So the top of the left foot is intended to be on the top of the right thigh. You can sit up nice and tall. And then our twist the opposite way. Right foot on the earth. Left heel toward the right glutes. Left knee drops downward, maybe, but maybe not. Right ankle crosses the left thigh for a twist over to the right. Open up the collarbones. We come front and center, left shin parallel to the front of the mat. Top of the right foot on top of the left thigh. We sit upright, belly in. Shoulders melting from the ears. Legs unwind. Staff pose. And since we'll be coming all the way down to the mat, you might want to scoot forward a little bit. Sitting up super tall, we press the heels, the calves, the thighs, the sitting bones, the fingertips into the earth. Pelvis forward, belly in. Shoulder blades wide, lifting the heart. Arms float in front, they lock back into your shoulders. Slowly we come all the way to the mat. Once you are down on your mat, knees hug in toward your chest, and it is your choice to just give them a hug, find knee circles, maybe legs up the wall. If you like, you could move into a shoulder stand. We have just a couple of minutes before class ends. We want to ensure we've prepared the body for Shavasana, taking whatever shape or movement our body guides us to. If you're taking your shoulder stand, you might move into plow for 3 breaths. And everyone will meet with the heels of the feet on the floor. And we lift up to one forearm and then the other for a little reversal if we have taken, especially if we have taken the shoulder stand and or the plow. We're shifting the heart high, dropping the head back, Pointing the toes forward, the hands might be under the glutes or the low back. Breathe 3, 2, come all the way down to the earth for your final resting posture. That might mean something under your knees or the knees bent, something under your neck. There's space between the feet, space between the arms and the side bodies. Palms face upward, shoulders toward the hips. Breathe in as deeply as you can. Open the mouth, let everything go. Ah. If you have not already done so, roll your eyes up toward your center forehead, finding your yogic gaze, your drishti, and then roll onto one side. Retaining this drishti at the place of intuition and wisdom, the third eye chakra. Bring back to mind your intention or your mantra or your motivation. Whatever you determine would guide your practice. And with that in mind, press yourself up to a seat. Palms draw together at the heart. We come full circle, closing the practice as we began with the sound of Om. Nice big breath in. Keeping our drishti toward the center forehead, the thumb knuckles come and meet that. And you find the unity, the energy, and the focus to understand and leverage your intuition, your yogic gaze, your single point of focus. Namaste. Terrific to practice with you again. So glad to share our 1-year anniversary of Vidhi Yoga with you. I hope everyone has a wonderful remainder of their day or night or whatever time you have taken this class if you've done the recording. Please, please, please share, like, comment on Facebook or Instagram. And if you have the funds, donate. You can do so via our website. I'm Karen, coming to you from beautiful Vermont. I look forward to practicing with you again soon. Yoga Intermission's way to go.